So I, for one, am a fan of Beast Wars. And I, for two, am a fan of kind of canon. And when I say canon in this case, I mean in terms of Autobot / Maximal leaders down through the lineage. And I have most of them. The two major holdouts being some version of Lio Prime, or Lio Convoy if you prefer, and Big Convoy. Arguably, I guess, Grand Convoy, but who cares about that guy? I know, led the Cybertronian Council, blah, 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 blah. But in terms of like kind of major Autobot Maximal leaders, I sort of have a version of everybody except for the last two holdouts. Well, I can't do a whole lot, at least not right now, about Big Convoy. I just don't happen to have it. But you know what I can do something about? Lio Convoy with the Legacy Evolution Lio Prime. He's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button, man, at any given time and become a channel member. And unexpectedly, this guy showed up along with Tarn. If you haven't seen my Tarn review, go back. I posted that a couple of days ago. And I didn't expect these guys till March, but he and Tarn showed up at a local comic shop early. Big shout out to Maximal 10 for hooking me up. Big shout out to Time Masters for having these guys in stock. Little bit cheaper than what a going rate is for a Voyager, so that's pretty good. This guy certainly does give up a bit of mass for a traditional Voyager, but man, what a ton of paint, what a ton of parts, and what a wild delve into engineering. But don't take my word for it. How about without any further ado, we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. Yes, indeed, and we continue our look at the Legacy Evolution Voyager class offerings with this guy. This, of course, is Lio Prime, better known to most fans as Lio Convoy from Beast Wars 2. His big nemesis was Galvatron. We'll kind of see that a little bit later, as well as a couple of like his Maximals that I happen to have. Not many, but I got a couple of them. This is sort of a long time coming. If you saw my Victory Saber review, and I will put a link to that, which I go in a lot of detail with, toward the end of that review, I have a smattering, if you will, of all of my Autobot and, I guess, Maximal leaders down through the lineage, right from Nova Prime through Optimus to Rodimus and Optimus Primal, and who else was in there? I guess technically Cerebros, Fort Max, Fortress, whatever you want to call them. You know, Metal Hawk thrown in there because he was leader for a while. Ginrai, or God Ginrai, Atlas, and of course Victory Saber himself. And I said, really, the only ones I'm missing are Lio Convoy and Big Convoy. I suppose you could say Grand Convoy since he's like head of the Convoy Council or whatever it was called. But really, this guy from Beast Wars 2 and the Beast Wars Neo leader are kind of the only two that I'm really missing to kind of have all of the Autobot Maximal lineage done. And to be fair, a long time ago, I was very tempted to get the original release of this, but was concerned about things like gold plastic syndrome. And if that was a problem, I felt like the line, as good as it looked, had very limited articulation. And this particular shoulder over here with the head on it was particularly limited. I saw the, I guess the later like Classics Universe one and thought to myself, that's pretty not great. Then I saw the Titans Return use of the Alpha Trion mold and thought, that's pretty good. It's highly stylized and he shouldn't have the third mode, but at least he turns into a functional, like, lion. And, you know, the colors and stuff are basically there for robot. There was the, like the, what was it, Collector Club one, I think it was, or Timelines or something like that. And then we saw the MP, and I said, oh, that's the way he looked in animation. That is like the version that I would want, but the MP just too big, didn't make sense for my collection. Enter Legacy Evolution, and this guy, as soon as I saw him, I said to myself, he is an instant get, at least for me. And I was still a little bit concerned, because the guy, especially around his shoulders, is pretty darn kibble-tastic. Was that going to be a hindrance? Well, we're going to find out, but before we look at him, we have to take a look at the packaging first. We can see beautiful line here. Right away, the eyes are yellow there. They shouldn't be. They should be white with pupils and stuff. But other than that, he looks pretty spot on. Over here, gorgeous artwork. Close-up of the face and head. And yes, the eyes are supposed to be yellow on him. All of this down here looks good for the body type. The tech spec code, I guess, is on the top of the boxes this time. His is pretty much 10s across the board, except for his Fire Blast, which is like a 9, so he's pretty darn good. Oh, we have half of the, I'll say, the artwork for Legacy Evolution here. If you remember Legacy had like 2 versions of the artwork, right? An Autobot and a Decepticon one, and they went together to kind of make a little bit of a mural. Well, using Tarn's box, and if you didn't see my Tarn review, by all means, go back and see that. That was just a few days ago. But you can see they go together again here, and there's a lot of neat things on here. Items that we have, characters that we have, but also what looks like it could be nods to some future things, and we've talked about that on GotBot Goes Live. Like, there looks like there could be a Junkion who vaguely, not even vaguely, who very much resembles Lockdown, animated Lockdown possibly. The other Insecticons seem to be there. You know, so there's some things there to explore as well. I mean, I guess if you're into boxes, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't find these instructions particularly good. There's some things that they do okay, but the way that they try to show the way you're supposed to move the arms to kind of get them in around the body is very ineffective. And I think part of it is because they're so small. Now, I could be wrong about that. Maybe other people find them really effective, but I feel like they're too busy, if that makes sense. And here's our Beast Wars 2 Maximal Leader, the very by-the-book, militaristic, hard-nosed Lio Convoy, or Lio Prime if you prefer. And he does have a heart, it's just like, you know, he's leader and he knows it, right? Next to my KO of Lio Jr. So, like, think of it like a bit of a protege to Lio Convoy. And from the, I think it was, it was one of the like Amazon sets, the Golden Disc Collection maybe? Golden Disc Collection Skywarp, who is kind of like, I feel like a sage, wise, sort of older, more experienced confidant to Lio Convoy, if I'm not mistaken. No, they do not go together, unfortunately. No, I don't have Santon, I think that's his name, Santon, who is the elephant, Ironhide in North America. And no, they can't go together to make Magnaboss, though that would be real cool, not gonna lie. And here he is next to another great Maximal Leader, that being Optimus Primal, who is certainly more stout. Optimus Primal comes in at 132 grams of plastic. And I said then, you know, that's giving up a little bit of mass, but that being said, look at all of the textured in detail and a ton of paint. So the value got shifted, and I thought the bit of mass that was given up was acceptable because there was so much value elsewhere. Lio Convoy here, or Lio Prime if you will, he clocks in at 128 grams of plastic, which is a little bit more of a loss than I'm comfortable with, but maybe he makes it up in value elsewhere. He's certainly taller, which is nice, and he has like a presence and a pop of color that is undeniable. Finally, though I have not reviewed this yet, this is Beast Wars 2 Galvatron. I'm actually going to move him over just a a touch there and get this guy in. I feel like that's actually a decent scale and a decent size, to be honest with you. This is on loan to me by Maximal 10. We will eventually take a look at it. Heck of a backpack on this Galvatron though. Oh buddy, a lot of backpack back there, Mac. And like, neat, I guess. So that's his arch nemesis, right? And now we can kind of get more in depth, in tune with this guy. In terms of paint apps for him, well, let's start from the bottom and work our way up. The gold paint on the toes, that's correct. The blue paint, the silver, gunmetal-y gray paint, the red paint, all of that's accurate. And all of that, I'm pretty sure, is paint. The blue paint on the hands, the kind of, I guess, gray fingers and thumb, the red on the arms, the elbow by rights should be gray. The shoulders, they should be red with some white, but I'm okay with the gray. The chest with the blue and the red, and this piece over here with that Maximal symbol on it, all that's correct. All of his tummy paint, all of that correct. All of that silver and red, all of that is paint. On his head, the entire head I think is cast in blue, but it's also painted in blue. The yellow eyes, the silver faceplate, the silver ears, all correct. The I guess mane on the side of his arms, that's correct. Now we do have the front paws back here on the arms. That's not really correct. Well, it kind of is correct, but it should be more compacted in. It's not, but it is what it is. The blue and the gunmetal gray and the yellow on the pelvis, all correct. The only kind of thing that's not is over here on the line head where the yellow eyes are, it doesn't have a pupil, there's no black outline. That should be white. But in robot mode, there's still no pupil. So, I mean, very minor imperfections. 9.75, like, I think it's about as good as you're gonna get. A couple of things maybe could have been done a little better, like, you know, the gray up here on the shoulder, maybe that should have been cast in red with just one more paint app added there. You know, the elbows maybe could have had a blast of, like, elbow gray, I suppose you could say. It's very hard to complain about it. Also, I'll note this. This can also open up, and his, I don't know what that is, his spark chamber or his matrix or whatever it is, that's in there. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head now, but it is in there as well, and it's all painted as well. Very impressive. 9.75. It has to be a 9.75. It's almost perfect. Then we get to the articulation, and I can't believe I'm going to say this with as much kibble as is on him. Easy 10. Easy 10. So, the head, it can go left, it can go right. Doesn't much look up, but it certainly looks down, and I don't know if it really needs to look up, to be honest with you. This can move up and down and back like this, all around, and it lets you get the arm all the way out, all the way up and down, and if you get it out of the way enough, I mean, yeah, you'll get the arm all the way around. Elbow to 90 degrees, bicep swivel, no wrist, so I'm saying 10, even though there's no wrist. This paw, it can move a fair bit. We'll see that in a little bit as well. Then we get to this shoulder over here. By the way, not symmetrical, so we needed extra molds here because you couldn't just copy and paste one side to the other, right? This here, again, moves down. It can move up. This piece can move as well. We can move it out of the way. So guess what? You can still get the arm really, if I just get this out of the way now, you can get the arm really out, like all the way that you want it to be out. Elbow 90 degrees. I guess the hand can go down like that. It's part of transformation. This, again, can move around on a ball peg back here. We have a free-flowing waist. We have legs all the way out to the side. all the way forward and back, thigh swivel, knee to 90 degrees, and very deep ankle tilt. And because of this heel spur, it gives you like some heel tilt. So I mean that kind of mimics a bit of like heel / toe tilt. I mean, he doesn't have wrist. I get that, but considering, and normally I would mark that down, but considering how hindered I thought he was going to be because of the things on the shoulders, I can't. I really can't. There's virtually no pose here that I can't pull off, and I'm shocked because I really thought that I was going to score him lower for articulation. If you want a nitpick, I'm giving it a 10, but let's say objectively, because there's no wrist, let's say it's a 9.75, right? 9.75, 9.75. And the guy has such stature and great look to him. Now, you may have noticed that I have not actually done anything with the accessories yet. He comes with 4. Well, there's a reason for that. Because, and I'm going to point this out, but I'm not going to belabor it. The main can flip up, and we have 2 of the blasters up here. But these pieces in line mode or in this mode can also flip out, and we have holes in here. The other 2 blasters are currently back here in his backpack because I don't really want these flipped out all the time. I don't want them in his hands all the time. So they can go in here. I'm going to tell you now, putting these, maybe you can see it better this way. Yeah. Putting these in this backpack is, at least on my copy, a nuisance. Solid once they're in there, but once I pick these out, it'll be a pain in the neck to put them back. So I'm going to leave them there now because I want to know, and I want to be able to tell you, if we can actually pull off the transformation with them there. Because when the transformation is all said and done, these sides of his forearms are part of the mane, and those 2 can flip out, and the 2 up here can flip out, and he has 4 here blasters that he's able to use for defense and armament and everything else. So let's do the transformation, shall we, and see kind of how that goes. Remember, a 9.75, almost perfect for the look. I'm saying a 10, but objectively, because of the lack of a wrist swivel, 9.75 for the articulation. The guy is scoring tremendously well. Little bit too much mass given up, but let's see how the engineering is for this guy. So we are going to, oh, by the way, with the legs, this red hinge in here, like you really do have to kind of push it a little forward to make sure that it locks in, and it does lock in. Out of package, mine didn't quite lock in, and I realized after doing the conversion to line mode that, oh man, he fell down. That, I didn't quite have it pulled ahead enough. Okay, let's put these heel spurs in. We're going to take these legs down, turn at the thigh, and then turn the paw, and now bring the leg forward, and you'll see here, like I'm trying to snap it up there. You don't hear it, but you definitely feel the, I guess, soft ratchet, and that's what a hind leg should look like. Over here, same thing, we turn it around, we turn the lower leg around. By the way, I forgot to mention in the articulation the calf cut, but it is there if you need it. So there's basically the 2 back legs, done. Right? Oh, I think I brought them in a little bit too close. Sorry if that was a little off screen. But yeah, basically the 2 back legs done. Okay. Now, with the 2 back legs done, let's kind of just pick this up out of the way for now. Oh, and I'm going to show this, I guess, before I finish. These legs here can come out, and you can flip these claws out and like turn this paw around. So if in robot mode you want him to have, I don't even know what you'd call it, but if you wanted him to have the claws, and he had them in the show, I do believe. If you wanted him to have the claws in robot mode, like, yeah, he can pull that off with the front legs of the line, right? Very, very easy. Now that we have that done, we're just going to leave that out, actually, because we're going to need these legs this way for the transformation anyway. So we're going to take the arm and turn it around, and take the wrist and fold it back. We're going to take the arm basically and turn it around, wrist, fold it back. And we're going to be finagling these legs and stuff quite a bit. In the end, we're going to be using this peg hole in right there to lock it all together. Now that you have all of that done, we can also take this whole, I guess, section, armature, and turn it around. Flip out the tail. Okay. And we can bring that down over the back. We're going to leave this piece up for now. Whew, okay. Then we're going to come here to like the chest and stuff. And we want to open the chest. I find it a bit of a bear to get started with it. And the side with the blue is the side that has to come first, just so we're clear. You might need something to pick it off with, root it out with, whatever you want to call it. Once it goes in there, it's in there really tight. I'm going to get that chest opened and then we're going to continue on. Heesh. Okay, if you had fingernails, this would be a lot easier. So this chest piece was folded in. We just unfolded it and you can see the tabs there. There's tab slots up here. We fold this one out. You will notice that I have some blue paint in here that has come off of his head. I've had a little bit of scrape from the paint on the head, but here's the nice thing. It's on so thick that I don't notice it. I don't even know exactly where it's scraped from. Then we take the head and we fold it in, and then we take this whole piece and fold it out, rotate it around, close it up to give us a tummy for the line. Love that. Love that bit of detail. Then we can take this chest piece up and we're going to take the other chest piece up. Now, this is when things get interesting. Up under here, there's an armature up here that really this piece is on. And that armature that's up there has a slot or a peg on this side and a little bit of a peg on this side, but it's not as, I don't find it as prominent. All of that is going to go into this slot on the wrist of Lio Convoy. So we bring that up and it goes in. And then we got to make sure to have this out of the way. And we got to make sure we got the entire shoulder folded up when we do it as well. It's a lot there going on. Same here. Bring that out. And again, we're going to use this, I guess, piece right here, this slot right here. I'm going to bring all of that up and in. All that needs to go pegged in, slotted together, and then we fold this chest piece back in, and we fold this chest piece back in, and now they're going to lock into one another once again. Very solid, as you can tell. Let's do the front paws. We're going to take the front paws and we're going to kind of bring them forward and swing them down. And what we're going to do is that peg hole that's right there is going to go over this red peg here and tab in. We're going to straighten up a paw there. And same over here. And again, all of that should tab in. I need to get those solidified. They actually go under the mane, by the way. It's very, very weird the way that it's done. Brilliant, but weird. The things like to come kind of unpegged a little bit. The mane comes down there. This one goes behind the mane as well and locks in. Okay, so we're almost there. This piece here that has the two blasters in it, it comes down and it should fit in here on the mane, right? This part is all painted, by the way. And then this last piece, it comes down and fits in on the side and tabs in right there as well. You could also put possibly a couple of blasters there. I'm not 100% sure. I have to clean a couple of things up, but basically, boom, in the end, oh, and he went down because of his front paws. Basically, a couple of things that I gotta clean up, but basically, in the end, boom, here we have Lio Convoy in his lion mode. And boy, oh boy, does this look good. Now, the mouth opens and closes. I do wish we had some paint in the mouth. I do wish we had at least a black outline around the eye and some sort of a pupil. I don't know, maybe I'll add it, we'll see. I did now make sure that these were tabbed in and solidified. The paws can go forward and back, but if you're gonna try and do any out to the side movement, you're gonna have to unpeg the shoulder, I suppose we'll say. Right? There's not really any out to the side movement. But the back legs, really, because the hips are the robot mode hips, you get all the way out to the side. Fair amount back, fair amount forward. You have the knee, and you still have the use of the ankle tilt. So he can get like in a bit of an action pose, you know, with his legs splayed there. But again, if you want to do the front, you're going to have to untab them a little bit. Now here's the thing. I talked a lot about the paint, which I think does help make up for the loss of mass. I've talked about the fact that there's asymmetry here. Like you couldn't just cut and paste both sides. Not for the chest, two different sides to the chest, and not for the two, I'll say, shoulder pads, because one is the head and one is the hindquarters. Completely different. And then all of this white, all of this white, all of this white, all of this white, all of it, just like Optimus Primal, has textured in detail. It's not just a smooth, flat mold. It's a textured mold, which means all of that textured detail had to be added and designed in. The transformation you saw yourself, there's a lot of moving parts and it's kind of bonkers where you're basically taking the head and the inner torso and turning it all around to make the belly, and you take the whole chest and you flip it up over the head, but you're doing so in like two halves. It's wild. If you notice the cut there, by the way, I'm sorry, but the battery kind of died on me, so I had to do a quick change there. He's impressive. He's crazy, crazy impressive, I have to say. I mean, the transformation at 10, 9.75, 9.75. I mean, the guy is about... He's pretty much as perfect of a Lio Convoy as we're going to get. If you have no connection to the character, you don't care about Beast Wars 2, he might not be for you. If you, like me, would like to have all of the Autobot Maximal leaders, he is a good one to get. If you know the character, you're invested in the character, of all that we've gotten outside of the MP, in comparison to anything that we've ever gotten in the main line, he is head and shoulders better than it all. Tarn was a success in the Voyager line for Evolution, and you know what? So is Lio Prime. And here we are once again, and here he is, and me saying there at the end that this guy is the absolute best mainline version of Lio Convoy that we've ever gotten says a lot. Because if you actually look at the releases from, you know, the Collector Club, or ones that came out in Japan, or right back when Beast Wars 2 was actually a thing, and that line was actually a thing. I mean, we've gotten other versions of this guy, and some of them have been quite accurate, notably the original and the MP. But for anybody like myself, who really craves a mainline version, until now, arguably, the best one that probably existed would have been the adaptation of the Titans Return Alpha Trion mold. And while that's okay, even though it gets a lot of flack, while it's okay as this character, honestly, this is leaps and bounds superior. It is more engineering, more moving parts. It is much more paint, and it is far more accurate. Like when I said 9.75 for the look, I mean, I really want to say 10, but I mean, the nitpicks, like with the eyes and with the shoulder being gray, they're nitpicks, right? But if I'm being objective, I got a nitpick. Without a doubt, if you're a fan of Beast Wars, if you're a fan of Autobot Maximal Leaders, or if you're a fan of the character of Lio Convoy or Lio Prime, then like, this is the mainline one to get, right? The MP is great for MP collectors, but if you're a mainline collector like myself, this is the one to get. Everything has texture detail all over the body. None of it is smooth. You can feel the texture. Ton of paint. So much here to like. And while I was terrified that all of this kibble was going to be a huge hindrance, man, not at all. It can move up and down and back and forth and get out of the way all you need so that you have full range of the shoulder. It would be very difficult to ask for anything more. Let me know what you think about Lio Prime, or Lio Convoy if you will. I love the guy, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty smitten. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, please. Stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. Especially don't forget that somehow, some way, man, each and every single solitary day, you do make a difference in the world, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the video.